but really you're 20 pounds overweight because of this, and this. Then we need to fix those things first, and then the weight's going to take care of itself.
Only about a third of men over 40 that seek out testosterone replacement therapy actually need exogenous or external testosterone.
Yeah.
Most of these guys, we can do a lot with lifestyle.
I can give you the perfect workout plan, the perfect nutrition plan, and you can nail it every single day. If you're not sleeping, it's not going to get you the result that you want. It's just not going to happen.
So if I can flag that as the pharmacist or even in the clinic and say, hey, you have 4 of the big 8, let's say, symptoms of testosterone deficiency, you're at a certain age, let's have that chat and let's just hold on this medication.
Hi, and welcome to the Living Richly podcast. We're so glad that you've joined us today. I'm super excited about today's conversation. One of the things about this podcast, nothing is out of bounds when it comes to conversation and what we need to explore. Right?
We wish sometimes
it was
out of bounds, but no.
But I'm really excited about today because it's something that we don't talk about enough, especially as dudes. And we have 4 men in the studio today. I'm about to introduce our guests very shortly, but to talk about the changes that happen in a man's body after the age of 40, in our 40s and 50s. Things start to shift, and guys just don't talk about this stuff. And as a result, I think we carry a lot of mental garbage and mental baggage around what's going on. And today we are like super blessed to have in studio, great friend and my fitness coach, Pat Woodcock, former NFL, CFL, all-star pro football player, and now a coach to elite coach to business professionals. And I've been working with you now for better part of 6 months, and my life has completely changed. So this guy really knows his shit. And so really glad to have you here from a fitness perspective to talk to us about men and testosterone and all that stuff. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. It's good to be here in studio.
Yeah, the last time, this is your second visit for you on the podcast. But
yes.
First time in studio.
First time in studio.
Great to have you here. And first time guest, but certainly not last time. I get the feeling this is going to be similar to what happened to Emma. Emma is your other half. We've had her on the show, and she was back recording a second episode not that long ago with Kate and Wendy. But we have Adam Livingston from NutriChem. You are a clinical pharmacist.
That's correct. Yes.
Right? And you help men with a lot of this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I originally started with deprescribing and helping patients sort of optimize medications. And we're seeing more and more men coming in, trying to talk about testosterone and opening up about this, which is great. So definitely seeing a lot more men at NutriChem.
Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. Great to have you here. So we've got sort of like the clinical side of the house. We've got the fitness side of the house. And then you got the old man on this side of the table representing, especially on that side of the table, because you need help.
I need lots of help.
This
is intervention number 36 for
36
me.
For you. We do this. We plan shows, but they're really interventions for Ron.
Yeah. What do I need? Let's do a show around that.
Exactly. But we're going to jump into this because we were just talking before the show started. The ladies just did a show, Real Women, Real Talk. Our co-hosts and significant others. Our co-hosts and significant. Let's lead with that. They regularly do shows on women's issues, and we do the same for men. And we're talking about how there's a lot of talk now about things like perimenopause and menopause. Thankfully, that's being talked about a lot more openly. But I can't remember ever. And Rob, you and I have pretty in-depth, intimate conversations with dudes in terms of stuff they never talk to anybody about. No. And we facilitate discussions like this among groups. I have never heard a guy say, I think my T levels are low.
Even the two of us, we're business partners, we're co-hosts with the episode. We're good friends. We have pretty deep conversations about everything in life. There's never been a day where I've said to you, hey, how's your testosterone? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, it just doesn't come up, and I think it's a problem. I think it's, and that's why we want to open up and dispel some of the myths. And we're going to start with you, Pat, from the fitness perspective. What are men telling you before they ever talk about hormones? What are you hearing from men in their 40s and 50s when they're coming to you to maybe get their health back?
Yeah. So, I mean, typically guys will come to me when they've tried a couple different things and they just can't find something that works to get back into the shape that they used to be. They've put on a few pounds over the last 10 years, kind of consistently 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds. And now they're 15 to 20 pounds heavier than they want to be. Their energy is low. They are having maybe some trouble concentrating on work and all that kind of stuff. A little bit irritable, not a lot of patience with the family or with the coworkers. So they've tried a few things. They've gone back, hey, I had this workout program that worked great when I was 25. Let me try that again. This guy looks jacked on Instagram. Let me follow what he's doing. He's 25 also, so that should work.
Yeah.
And basically they've tried a few things and kind of nothing has brought them the results that they're looking for. So they're pretty frustrated. But yeah, basically they come to me talking about, first and foremost, I need to lose 20 pounds, get a little bit stronger, move a little bit better maybe. But then when we dig in a little bit deeper, that's when we hear, yeah, okay, my energy's low too. I'm not sleeping great. And yeah, I'm not really paying a lot of attention to food, and stress is super high. And that's when we get into that deeper conversation and hormones come to the forefront.
Right. So it doesn't start there. It starts with other presenting symptoms, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. And when they come to me, right, as sort of the fitness and the health coach, those are the things that they think are the main topics, right? I'm 20 pounds overweight, so we need to fix that. But really, you're 20 pounds overweight because of this, and this. Then we need to fix those things first, and then the weight's going to take care of itself.
Well, and I can certainly attest to that. I mean, when I sought you out, we were just talking about this on a previous show. I've been pretty good for the last several years in terms of self-care, health, and all of that. You know my story. I had been telling myself all the bullshit excuses that the business needs me right now, and I need the extra. I don't have the time, and before I knew it, I was 25 pounds overweight and not in terrible shape, but not in good shape, and wasn't sleeping well, and my nutrition was off, and all that's turned around now. So now I'm like, it's interesting that now that I'm in probably the best physical shape I've ever been in. I don't think I've ever been this fit. I think I told you I dropped like 3 waist sizes, right? And I feel strong, and I feel like my energy's good. I'm sleeping great. I'm eating better than I ever have. But part of me is like, but I'm going to be like, by the time this episode airs, I'll be 55. And I'm like, I know some things are changing. And so you talk about irritability, and I go, oh, I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Yeah. You talk about, well, I'm having trouble focusing sometimes. Oh, I just have a bit of brain fog, right? Yeah. But we're not connecting it perhaps to some of these physical changes. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, 100%. Guys, they really just view hormones, maybe not even looking at hormones at all, but they view just getting fatter and getting out of shape as a completely separate entity from whatever's going on inside their body. And because we just, like we said earlier, nobody ever talks about this. Nobody says, at 40, some things are going to start to change because you've been doing this, and this for your 30s. So, in order to kind of get you back into the shape that you want to be in, we need to address those things and talk about, how you're sleeping, how you're eating, what kind of training you're doing, what kind of physical exercise you're doing, how you're dealing with stress, because all those things, testosterone is going to go down as we get older. There's no question about that. But all of those things contribute to it going down much faster than it needs to.
Right. And where would you say like men start blaming themselves? Like, so take the guy that is maybe doing what he can to try to stay in shape and do all the things you're talking about, but they're not getting the results and that he wants, and or what used to work's not working, because that can really be a serious mind fuck for a dude, right?
Yeah, I think the blame starts to come when they try a bunch of stuff that doesn't work. And so they start to internalize that as like, I just can't do this. And so, but really what they're trying to do is the wrong thing, right? They're trying to train the wrong way. They're trying to eat the wrong way. They're trying to just power their way through it the way we typically do, right? You have a problem, you power your way through it. And sometimes you just need to sit back for a second and find the right strategy to make your hard work actually get the result that you're looking for.
Right.
So I think the blame comes when they try a bunch of stuff and they just don't get results, and they internalize that and say, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And then when they see somebody say, the reason you can't do this is because of this, and this, then they can say, oh, okay, so let me maybe talk to that guy and see what he's talking about and see if I can apply some of those things to my situation and get the results that I'm actually looking for.
Yeah.
I just wanted to jump in for one
sec.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to echo what you were saying more on the pharmacy and clinical side. The prodrome of symptoms you're talking about is very similar, even like medical clinics. They'll come in asking about that, and they won't suspect testosterone as a root cause. And they'll actually, I'm not sleeping. What about a sleeping pill? Oh, I'm a little bit depressed, anxious. What about anxiety meds, depression medications, things like that? And it becomes the same conversation even on the medical side, not even the coaching fitness side of, you've got these 5 things. These all could be that root of testosterone. Right. And that's what we start looking at. And it's even medical docs should be looking into this more. Pharmacists should be looking into it more, but it's not normal. It's not normal in our healthcare system yet. More and more so in the US. Canada's always a decade or so behind. And we're seeing more private clinics that are treating this. And that's what I do at NutriCoach as well.
Which is so necessary, right? So I came into the show today. I was like, I'm going to be so fucking vulnerable with these guys and really talk about a bit of my journey. Because I think, again, this is the notion of we want people to have this open space. It must be incredibly hard for guys to finally go to either one of you and go, it's not working. I'm failing. I'm not doing this. And I'm going to use myself as an example here. I'm 58. I have been in great shape. I've been in very poor shape. If you asked me to go outside right now and run a 5K, I could do it. I absolutely know I could. I did one just 2 days ago on the treadmill. My wife owns 3 fitness studios, right? We talk about it. And I sleep great. I have 8 hours of sleep every single night. I thought that was just during our meetings. No, never. I thought that's where you got your best sleep. I'm awake and alert during the day, right? I do the creatine. I do the all of the stuff. My apple cider vinegar, all of this kind of stuff. And this time around, goal is I'm about probably 30 pounds, 35 pounds overweight. And my goal this time I've been working on it for a little bit now and not seeing any results. And my mind fuck comes in it's an interesting because I've never had this before. I walk in front of a mirror right now and I see my gut and I go, you fat fuck. And I tear myself up and I get so angry and you're shame and failure. And, I got to wear something baggy and all of this kind of stuff. For guys to break that barrier and come to you, how do you respond in that moment? I open up to either one of you, but how do you respond when guys come and go, or how do you get them to even come to you when they're like looking at that and feeling that kind of shame? Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that. I know that's not easy to talk about for sure. And I think guys typically are able to do that, at least in my experience, when I share a story that's similar to that. Yeah. So whether it's about me or whether it's about a previous client and it's something that they can relate to, and then the conversation starts and I'm like, help him to realize like, you're not the only one. Like we're all going through this stuff at varying levels, right? So it's just about kind of allowing them to understand, like I said earlier, it's not necessarily your effort or your fault or anything like that. It's just that you're using the wrong strategy to try to get what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. What about for you with guys coming in?
Same thing, transparency. I'll even talk to them about my own lab values. Right? Like I do my labs every year. I'll even say, look, my total testosterone's here. My free testosterone's here. I'm not even over 40 yet, but I'm still in the normal range, but it's optimal for each guy. Right. And I talk to them about the fact I'm normal, let's say, but my testosterone's not sky high. Yeah. For example, here's my level, right? And then that can open up that transparency and clarity with them. And then they see that I'm a bit vulnerable. So that helps as well. Yeah.
But I think like guys, let's face it, like we hear testosterone, we think, man, oh, good.
I don't want to know it's low.
I don't want to know it's low. So we were talking about this before the show started. You made that same statement about how it can be such a range, and what's optimal for one is not necessarily optimal for the other. Like these things are, but I don't think that's how most guys view it. I think if when I was honest, we were both honest with you. If I did a lab and you came back and said, "Oh, you're kind of low on the," I'd be like, "Oh fuck," right? Like I'd be thinking something's wrong with me, or I would equate that with my manhood, right? Like let's face it, men are like performance orientated, whether that's in business, in the gym, or in the bedroom. Like performance, if we don't feel that we can bring it,
that's why I was going to say the first thing I think guys if you don't have any knowledge at all, you associate testosterone with sex.
Yeah.
So
yes,
I'm not telling anybody that my testosterone is low or that I feel that or anything like that's. I'm not talking about that. So you have to help them realize that it's about a lot more than that. Yes, it is about that, but there's so many other things that it affects and that it contributes to that is going to make your life better.
Oh yeah, they'll treat labs like it's a direct measure of their manhood. Almost stuff like, well, I'm higher than you. They'll be comparing with their buddies.
So
please don't do that.
To be honest, I come into this show and most shows I know enough about the subject matter that I feel like I'm a bit of a noob, that I really haven't done my homework. I haven't done, and knowing that you guys were coming on the show, I thought like, no, I'm sure they could enter this. So, because I think I can better represent most of the male population if I come in asking questions, because I would have said that exact thing, that my lab's low, that means my manhood's low. Because let's face it, growing up, teenage kid, high school, college, whatever, like locker room talk being what it is. Like, testosterone equals sex. And if this thing is not where it needs to be, that means I'm a failure here. No guy is going to admit to that. And so I think as we get older, I'd love to hear from you, Adam. Like, most of us are told, well, this is just normal for your age, right? How you're feeling. How would you respond to that sort of statement?
So hormones are all about balance and individual. Like each guy, at least working in the clinic, has their own range that works well for them. So for example, like in Canada, the Canadian guidelines, I won't get into like the units of measure on the lab testing, but it's about, let's say 8 to 32 is sort of your range. It's like nanograms per deciliter. But in that range, for example, I'll even open up with guys and say, look, my last test, I was at about 16. That's a little low for me. My optimal range is about 20. But I have 60-year-old guys that look great, feel great, and their level might be the same as another guy that's 45, for example. And it's up to that individual guy. So it's each guy, we almost want to look at a trend, and we wouldn't even look at diagnosing testosterone deficiency unless we had 2 tests over a couple of weeks, fasted, because let's say tonight I go out with the boys, I have some drinks, I don't sleep, my testosterone could be low or even out of range tomorrow.
Wow.
But
it's that
give
sensitive.
it a couple of weeks, I sleep, I weight train a little bit, it'd be back to a normal range the next time I test. So it has to be 2 consecutive tests, plus some mix of symptoms.
Wow.
Basically to actually say you're testosterone deficient. Only about a third of men, and there's studies on this, and I see this where I work, only about a third of men over 40 that seek out testosterone replacement therapy actually need exogenous or external testosterone.
Yeah.
Most of these guys, we can do a lot with lifestyle. And sleep would be number one, I would say, and stress.
Well, I know you're a huge champion of that.
Oh yeah. So
you basically say, well, let me just let you say it.
About sleep?
Yeah.
Sleep's the great equalizer, right? I can give you the perfect workout plan, the perfect nutrition plan, and you can nail it every single day. If you're not sleeping, it's not going to get you the result that you want. It's just not going to happen. So there's two. So cortisol is the stress hormone.
Yes.
Right. And it is.
Yeah. I live off of caffeine and cortisol.
Yeah. So
I'm going to get a t-shirt powered by caffeine and cortisol. I'm kidding.
I believe it. A lot of guys do.
Yeah.
Cortisol is inversely related to testosterone.
Okay.
So as your cortisol goes up, your testosterone has to go down. So sleeping, managing stress, all those things bring cortisol down, allows testosterone to raise back up again.
Wow.
And those are so sleep and managing stress, those are 2 super simple things that give you a higher testosterone level right off the bat without taking anything, without lifting a weight, without changing the way you eat. If you sleep better and you manage your stress, that will raise your testosterone. Now, eating better and lifting weights is going to help you manage that even more.
Yeah.
But those 2 steps will raise your testosterone immediately.
Wow. So like we associate so we talked about sex drive already, like how we associate testosterone as dudes with sex and our ability to perform in the sack, right? So there's that. But I think the other place we would normally associate it with is with muscle growth, right? Yeah. Getting to the gym and getting jacked, right? Help noobs like us who are a little clueless beyond sex in the gym.
There's more?
There's more? Like, what else does testosterone affect for a dude?
Talking to guys, I see a lot. Another big one, those are the 2 biggest ones. Usually they'll come in with erectile dysfunction.
Right.
Like we mentioned, libido. That's a big one because guys we're such dogs, right? Like throughout our life, like the fact that you're not interested in sex is the big red flag usually.
Right. Yeah.
A big one I find is sort of the motivational factor as well. A lot of guys sort of, testosterone makes effort feel good in general. So it's a sign of, I'm having a hard time just getting through waking up in the morning and getting through my work day. I don't even think I could, do something with my wife or do a workout, or like even their basic functioning becomes very challenging.
Okay.
That's a big red flag for me, is sort of that energy motivation component.
Okay. So a guy with chronic low motivation might want to
very high functioning.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm having a hard time. I've been taking more personal days off work. I'm not able to do like my standard daily tasks.
Wow.
That's a big one.
I would associate that to maybe
seasonal
depression,
something else going on,
burnout, or just stress, right? Or lost interest in work. And maybe you need to find some, like, it's
Find
funny
your
where the mind
passion.
goes. Find your passion.
Yes.
It's like, no, I need to find my T's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not your keys, but your
My
keys.
exactly. What else? What else does it impact?
I would say concentration, sort of like and that all ties into energy and all that kind of stuff, right? If you don't feel energized and motivated, then your ability to concentrate is going to be down. I would say the irritability that we talked about earlier, lack of patience, that kind of stuff. Show that, like, guys talk a lot about, like, I don't like the way I'm acting around my kids and my family. Like, I don't have a lot of patience because I'm tired and because I don't feel good and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's those are two more that kind of really, and when you look at kind of all those things that we've listed now, like, that's a lot of the stuff that we go through on a day-to-day basis, right?
100%.
How you deal with your family and your coworkers, how you feel, how you're motivated, how you're moving, how you're sleeping. Like, that's life.
Yeah.
And where the system really fails, I see on the sort of pharmaceutical side, is, pharmaceuticals are good symptom managers, but I'll see guys, and this is where I flag them to talk about testosterone often, because you'll get all these symptoms and you'll start seeing what we call a prescribing cascade. So you see a sleeping pill for the sleep, an antidepressant for the depression, anxiety meds. All of these can cause tolerance and dependence too. Like some of these are pretty nasty meds, benzos, antidepressants. You can't just come off them once you start them.
That's right.
So if I can flag that as the pharmacist, or even in the clinic, and say, hey, you have 4 of the big 8, let's say, symptoms of testosterone deficiency. You're at a certain age. Let's have that chat, and let's just hold on this medication.
Yeah.
Because that medication can cause more problems than benefits.
Yeah.
So that's where I love where I work, because I can have those conversations. If I'm in a chain pharmacy or a regular, doctor's office, I can't even get into that. It's not in my guidelines, right? It's very pharmaceutically dominated in pharmaceutical and medical doctors' guidelines. So I feel for doctors that their hands are bound sometimes and that they don't want to get into this. And a lot of typical sort of family docs focus on the risks of test, or they don't want to get into that conversation. They're not comfortable with it, even though it's critical. Like, it would fix all of those issues, just testosterone replacement, for example, or a lifestyle audit where we can get you sleeping, get you weight training a little bit, get it back naturally. If we need to add a little TRT or something later, great, top you up to your optimal level, versus 5 or 6 pharmaceuticals.
Right.
So,
right.
And,
Wow.
and sorry, just to jump on that a little bit, I do have guys as well that come to me and they're already on hormone replacement, but they haven't taken care of the lifestyle stuff. And I think what guys don't realize is just taking that shot is not going to fix everything. It's like throwing a coat of paint on a busted ass house, right? It makes it look pretty for a minute, but it's not actually fixing what's going on
Still
inside.
a busted ass house.
You still have to fix the lifestyle things to make the testosterone work for you.
So in this busted ass house, because I'm a numbers guy, and I read Peter Attea's book, and all of a sudden I'm focused on VO2 max. I'm my Apple Health, my Apple Watch, I'm tracking all this stuff. The gyms that we own are all about metrics and using metrics. When it comes to lab, we're talking about T levels, but what are some of the other what else should we be tracking or aware of, and how do we keep ourselves as guys from not obsessing over those numbers?
Yeah, we love data. Well, so you want to look at total testosterone. You kind of mentioned it, free testosterone. So the actual testosterone to go hit your receptor targets to do what testosterone does, you need your cortisol low. So when you have high cortisol, it makes something called sex hormone binding globulin. So your body...
There's the word sex.
Yeah, see? I heard it. I heard it.
Attention. There you go.
Hey-o.
Yeah. Because your body's in this sort of sympathetic fight or flight state for too long, high cortisol. So you think you're like almost in a war zone. It might be work stress, but our primitive brain thinks we're in this like war zone state. not the time to go parasympathetic, rest and digest, and actually make hormones like testosterone to rebuild muscle, for example.
Right.
So you'd want to look at total free testosterone. A lot of times we'd look at estradiol. So that's the endpoint of the testosterone metabolism, basically. And that's also where you need to be cautious with men coming in seeking TRT, but they've got like a lot of visceral body fat. Yeah. You got to be cautious. It has a lot more of the enzyme like aromatase, which, testosterone, if we gave it to you and you're quite overweight and you have that visceral body fat, a lot of it gets converted into estrogen, and there's a lot of risks in men.
Okay.
So we'll have guys that are still a little bit more overweight or have that visceral body fat. TRT could be an option, but let's just get you to lose some weight and sleep first. So TRT, that's a big flag for TRT guys coming in. I want to lose weight using TRT. Actually, we're going to get you to lose weight first. It limits the risks, and then we won't have problems in the future. We would look at like prolactin, for example, DHEA, which is a building block of a lot of hormones. We would want to look at thyroid. I think I mentioned cortisol. There's a pretty standard panel we would have of 6 to 8 markers that kind of show the whole metabolic pathway.
How is testosterone tied to metabolism in general? So and is it at all? Are these things related?
I wouldn't say it's directly related. I would say testosterone obviously contributes to having an active lifestyle and keeping muscle mass and all those kind of things. And those things help you keep your metabolism high.
Okay.
But in terms of maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think, high testosterone automatically means high metabolism.
No. Yeah, you're right. I think it would be more of you would rebuild muscle tissue better, carry more muscle mass, get your body composition will be more muscular versus body fat. And that would ramp up, like muscle will burn more calorically, but no, it's more of an indirect effect.
Indirect effect. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's helpful because I always thought they were related.
Yeah.
High T.
No, because again, like I was saying, let's say you have cardiovascular risks, you're carrying a lot of extra body fat. Testosterone's not going to rev you up and make you lose weight, right? Yeah. So like that's a good example. Yeah.
Can you explain TRT for our listeners, like in layman's terms? Again, I think a lot of guys
think you're talking to me. Just dumb it down.
Dumb it down.
So if you do have 2 tests a few weeks apart, fasting testosterone levels, and total testosterone's low, and free testosterone is typically low if you see that as well, you would want to basically look at how low and then look at different options. There's different ways to administer it. I personally find the best is an injection, like a testosterone cypionate or an anthate. It gives the most stable like pharmacokinetics, so it stays in the blood about a week or 2. You can dose, depends on the range and how low they are. There's also things like androgel, which is transdermal. It's milder, lower dose. There's some advantages there. So I work mostly with things like transdermal creams. A lot of guys will start if we want to go lower dose. They're just a little low. You can use androgel commercially. I compound a lot of testosterone creams for men of different doses, stuff that's not commercially available. But for nice, steady, stable amounts, I like the injection. It's typically once a week, or there's different regimens. And
is that over a period of time?
Yeah, you would do like 1 dose a week. We work with a guy to basically dose at the same time every day, every week. Like let's pick a Sunday, for example. Some guys actually do better with the twice a week dosing, because what happens is you get a big increase in testosterone, and sometimes by the end of the week before their next dose, they're starting to feel crappy.
Okay.
So there's different clinicians that have different ones. I've personally become more in favor of the injection just because it gives a nice stable blood level for a week or 2.
Okay.
So I like that. Typically most docs, if they're conservative, or even in our clinic, we start with a little bit of transdermal and see what we can do. We test every 3 months. If the symptoms are getting a little unpredictable, or we're seeing the blood levels are really varied, like it's not stable in the range that works for you, that's where we would move to the injection typically.
Okay.
Oral, there's not really good oral options because they're metabolized too quickly. Your liver clears them too quick. So you have to take like 2 or 3 capsules a day. So that's really gone.
Heavy
so
dude.
Oral's kind of gone. Transdermal's often starter, and then injections for higher dosing or more long term.
When I think of injections, I immediately think of one of the local gyms where you see they've even got the needle box in the bathrooms now, right? And of course we're talking in that case with steroids and that. Differentiate your T levels, and then guys that are doing the steroid thing. And again, from a layman, from me, like me.
I mean, steroids are going to superhuman levels. So like, let's say I mentioned like 8 to 32 is sort of in the Canadian guidelines, nanogram per deciliter. I mean, some of those guys get up to like 50, 60, like way beyond. And that's where you start seeing male pattern baldness. Conversion to DHT is just too much. You get male pattern baldness. You get a lot of acne.
Back acne.
All the other stuff.
That's a different ball game.
It is.
You mentioned, Pat, like irritability with low T. Look at the irritability of high T. That can actually be quite dangerous.
But why I bring that up is because, again, that's sometimes the mindset, right? Right away when I hear, injections, I'm like, I don't want to have injections because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy in the back of the gym doing whatever, I guess, whatever, shooting it in his ass or whatever he's doing, right? But the reality is there's lots of people doing that. But we're not talking that when we're talking, again, the safe. It's all in the prescribed doses.
We're testing, we're monitoring, we're getting you in the appropriate range that men should be in, which is quite broad, but we can find that sort of specific range for each guy. And it does vary quite a bit, but you don't want to be over like 1,000. Typically, that's where you'll start getting problems.
Okay. And what are the risks of TRT? Like let's assume someone is the right candidate. They're doing the things that they need to do lifestyle wise. So they're working out, or they're moving, they're exercising, they're eating better, they're trying to get their sleep. They're still just not getting there, and you test them and find that they're low. And now you're going to start treating them. What are some of the you talked about if someone's got too much visceral fat, how that can be problematic. What are some other risks that are inherent in
I'm sure, like, playing in the CFL, football players, I've definitely seen a lot of athletes, for example, with head trauma. That's something that can be overlooked. Like your pituitary can take damage in the brain, and it basically causes this whole cascade to release and make testosterone. So head trauma, like soldiers, for example, high-level athletes, some of them have what's called like primary hypogonadism, where basically the brain is not releasing the signals to make you make testosterone. So if we did everything with lifestyle, and the level wasn't...
A head injury.
A head injury is often overlooked as a reason for low testosterone. So they'll see this with like football players, soldiers coming back with like PTSD, for example. I mean, not super common. Like I don't see it a ton, but it does come up sometimes where you do all the lifestyle stuff and you're still seeing like very low testosterone, for example. And that means the brain might not be signaling properly. That's a minority of cases. Typically, if you're doing everything with lifestyle and they're complying, and you can see other factors in their health getting better, then you could just top it up with something like TRT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the risks are relatively low in that.
Yeah. So in terms of risks, it would depend on the dose. So like androgel or the transdermals have like a bit lower risk. Injections and higher doses can have more risks. One of the big one we have to watch for is like hematocrit. So you have to watch your red blood cells.
Okay.
It can make the blood quite thick. So you get better oxygenation to everything. You feel amazing, but you can actually get like clot risk and cardiovascular event risk.
Okay.
It can be hard on the liver as well. You got to metabolize all that steroid hormone.
Right.
Those are sort of the big ones.
And once you start on it, are you on it for life, or is it for a season, or what's the deal?
Depends on the nature of the issue.
Okay. So
right. A lot of guys stay on it because they feel a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's just interesting, fascinating to me. Again, I don't claim to be by any means an expert on perimenopause or menopause, but Kate certainly helped me understand that a lot better. And one of the things I tell the guys that are part of the nation that watch the podcast, I'm like, just because it's a Real Women, Real Talk, don't tune out. Actually tune in, because you're going to learn some things that you probably don't know about your significant other that could be really, really helpful. So I tune in very carefully to all those episodes and listen. But a lot of the things we're talking about, right? Like the weight gain, the brain fog, the loss of motivation, the mood, the irritability would be many of the symptoms they would talk about, and among others. But there's some similarity there, is it not?
Oh, absolutely. That's why they call it like menopause or andropause, right? Yeah. And ours is more.
So I thought that was always just like a joke. Menopause was just guys like making fun of it.
We want to be included. Too.
I'm not going to use menopause. I feel like that's like I'm going to be cut off at the knees.
But like andropause for men is a little different. Like for women, it's centered around age 50. There's perimenopause. andropause, and then estrogen and progesterone in women can drop pretty suddenly and give a lot of symptoms. I mean, you can look at things, you mentioned relationships, like you can look at things like divorce rate or leaving careers at that stage for women really spikes, and it's a hormonal issue.
Right.
I think in future, now there's more awareness around andropause, we might see some similar things, but ours isn't as sudden. So around age 30 to 35, sort of where we peak generally. The big peak's actually during puberty, but sort of our peak in manhood is 30 to 35. So we often tell guys, hey, go get tested at that age if you're feeling good, because that's kind of the optimal range that we might use later for TRT to get back to when you're about 30. So it's more gradual for sure. But a lot of guys, in their 40s, 50, at some point they kind of hit a wall. Where they're really noticing.
For you, when guys come to you, and of course you're looking at diet, you're looking at their regiment, what are they doing in the gym, all of that stuff. At what point do you introduce, whether it's supplements or suggest going and having these tested? Like, how do you guide them in that direction?
Yeah. So we obviously we talk about all that stuff first in terms of training, nutrition, sleep, hydration, all those things, sleep, stress management. And then we also do talk about some supplements, but more on like the vitamin, basically supporting overall health. And there are a few things, and you can probably speak a little bit more on this, Adam, but like zinc, for example, and vitamin D, those things are crucial. They're not testosterone boosters, but if they're low, testosterone will also be low. So if you can take a zinc supplement, a vitamin D supplement, and get those levels where they should be, that gives your testosterone a chance to be at the level that it should be at. So we talk about basically vitamins for overall health to make the body do the things that we're asking it to do. If we go, through a whole program, the guy's pretty dedicated, pretty on point with everything, still not getting results. There haven't been a lot of those. There have been guys that say, like, I feel like I should be further ahead. Like I've made some progress, but I'd like to be further ahead. Then I say, listen, like you're kind of hitting everything. Then you can go see your doctor and take a test and see where your levels are at, and just see if that's something that we can do. So there are a few guys. That have come to me already on TRT, like I mentioned before, and we've had to adjust a couple things. There's a few guys that have gone on since we started, so they kind of get to a point. Sort of what Adam was talking about before. They're got too much body fat. They're not in good shape. We get them in better shape. Still feeling a little sluggish, not quite where they want to be. So now we go get them tested and they can take TRT if that's something that's appropriate for them.
I like your supplement recommendations too. I'd say zinc and vitamin D3 are probably my favorites for men, especially in the northern climate with the vitamin D. Love magnesium, like a magnesium bisglycinate, nice and absorbable. Is great.
I use that.
You've probably heard of like ZMA. That was the classic. Yes. ZMA was like a classic sort of bodybuilding. It was
the big one back in the day.
Conti was Balco. He got all the baseball players all juiced up. And he was all into zinc, magnesium, and he used aspartic acid. Aspartic acid, mixed reviews. I'm not a huge fan. If you were going to put the A in the ZMA, I always say I like ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is good at lowering cortisol and freeing up testosterone. It's probably got the best studies for increasing free testosterone.
So I do that. I can't pronounce it, but I
take it, but I can't.
It's a little bit more exotic than zinc, but
it's not ayahuasca. We talked about that on an earlier episode.
I do the overdose in vitamin D. I do like 4,000. I think it is right every. I do that every day. I've got my multivitamin from Isogenics. It's like everything in there. That's all the different types of vitamins that you need to do. The creatine, I do the for sleep, magnesium at night. The apple cider vinegar, right? I think I'm doing the other one you just mentioned a few minutes ago. Anyway, all of that stuff. So that side of it is good.
Yes.
At the gym, definitely movement every day. An hour of walking every single day for sure. I've got a husky shepherd. Yes. I have to walk. So, so you're walking every day at the gym, doing tread work, like both high intense interval training for sure, and then weight training. I do all of that stuff. Eating is certainly up and down. Right. And then the alcohol. And those are two of the big ones, I would imagine.
Right.
Putting those in place and you're saying, well, it's all here, right?
Yes.
Then it could be something where it's like, okay, it's time to get tested on some of these things.
Yeah, for sure.
But you can't out-train a bad diet, right?
No, that's true.
Comes down to diet is certainly a critical piece for sure.
Yeah, there's certainly no harm in going to get tested and seeing where your levels are at. I would say, even with testosterone, TRT, hormone replacement, nothing's going to happen until you can kind of be consistent with diet.
Stop eating that damn poutine.
That's a big one.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
And alcohol is a big one.
Yes.
So alcohol is a big one just from the point of it basically shuts everything down that you're trying to do. So because it's a poison and a toxin, the body, as soon as it comes in, the body stops everything. Yeah. The body stops burning fat, building muscle, creating hormones. It wants to do everything possible to get that toxin out of the body.
Yeah.
So everything that you're doing shuts down until the toxin's out of the body. And then it can kind of start doing the other stuff that you want to do. So if you're having a drink every day or every couple of days, people say, well, that's not a big deal. And if you're in the shape that you want to be in, it's probably not. But if you're trying to change your shape,
right,
trying to get that alcohol eliminated is going to help you go a long way.
Yeah. And that was a big one for me. Not that like I was like to have a drink every couple of days or, have the one drink at the end of the day, just the one, you kind of, and I developed, it's interesting. COVID was a big part of that. And I think a lot of folks during COVID, it just became easy. And then you realize it's just become a habit. It's like, you're not even really craving it. It's just, it's what I do now.
Yes.
Like, after dinner, I pour myself a glass of scotch and relax. Right. And then you realize, I got to the point where I just looked at it and I said, I don't like the size of this in my life. This is too big right now. It's not the right size.
Yeah, turned up.
And it was one of the changes I made when you and I started working together.
Right.
And it's interesting. I didn't start the nutrition, as you know, right away.
Yes.
It's almost like I knew I was in a place where I wanted to get the exercise well established. And I'm still to this day have not missed one workout in 6 months. So I'm very proud of that because it's become a real, even this morning, we were up early, going to be here early for the podcast, be here all day. And I knew I wouldn't be able to work out later. So I was hitting it at 6 a.m. and got both my workout and my 5K walk in and I feel great, right?
Love it.
But it was reducing alcohol content. I didn't quit, but I reduced it significantly. And then it was getting on a high protein, right, sort of regimen. And you helped me with macros. And what's really great is like, people ask me, one of the guys earlier who hadn't seen me in a bit, he goes, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, you look jacked. He says, what are you eating? Are you not eating? Like, I said, no, I'm eating better than I ever have, actually. Like, I'm actually eating lunch now every day. I'm not just eating one meal a day and then crashing because of my sugar spiking and, right. But it's about what's right sizing it and making those positive changes. But the nutrition, what do they say? Like, it's 20% exercise, 80%, which
probably, yeah.
Like I know those
especially if you're trying to make change like that, for sure. And I mean, it's interesting. We talked about metabolism earlier. So many guys have that same thought process that you just talked about. Whereas, I'm going to fast all day and only eat one meal, or I'm going to do this, and your metabolism just goes in the tank. Your cortisol and your stress goes through the roof because that's a stress on the body. Yeah. And guys think they're, I'm going to, but you're actually going in the opposite direction.
It's such a big fad is intermittent fasting, right? Like it's huge, and you see so many of these YouTube experts that are just pushing it like so strongly.
No, I will say I still do intermittent fasting, have for years, because breakfast has never been something that I do. Like I don't crave it. I don't look for it. I don't like eating first thing in the morning. But my problem is you're supposed to then eat by around noon, right? Okay. I wouldn't, right? So I was now not eating. I would have, and then what happens is you have a big meal at night, sugar crashes, and then you tend up snacking more. So you're eating all within about a 3 to 4 hour window, and then you go to bed.
Yes.
Right. So horrible. And then I'm living on caffeine.
Yes.
Get up in the morning. It's caffeine all day till dinner.
With nothing else in your system.
With nothing else in the system. Right.
You're describing phases of my life right now. Like it's like the same thing, man. And you're like, well, whatever. I'll keep the calories low because I'll just eat the one meal a day. But again, I do testing on myself. I like to experiment on myself.
Yeah.
Cortisol's too high.
Yeah.
And you'll start seeing cortisol get too high, and then you'll actually start to get a bit of adrenal burnout where it's like your adrenals just can't do it anymore. And I've seen that with myself, and you'll see testosterone come down.
I'll say this. I've trained hard before. I'm training hard now. I've trained hard before. I have yet to experience, I train so hard, I'm so sore the next day that I'm barely functional. I used to get that all the time. I used to dread leg day because I'd be hobbling around like I'm incapacitated for 3 days. Like just, and I don't know if it's the nutrition. I don't know if it's a combination of the sleep and the, creatine, protein, all the stuff that I'm doing. Yeah, I wake up and I feel sore, but that good sore, not that bad sore, just that good sore. But I don't feel like...
So there's a few factors that play there, and obviously I can't speak to how you used to train.
Yeah.
But like
I used to train like I used to when I was 15.
Yeah, of course.
Like everybody did.
Perfect.
Watching
No
Rocky Balboa.
But we only train at most 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're getting some good work in, but you're building in some days where the body has a chance to actually recover. We're not just under eating. We're not just eating less. We're eating the right amount of calories for you. So your body has enough fuel to repair and recover and then fuel those next day's workouts. And we prioritize sleep. So you're getting to bed and enough time to allow the body to recover, let the muscles repair, let the hormones do their work. And so you're actually getting the results of the workout that you actually want, instead of just, I got to go to the gym every single day. I got to do HIT every single day. I got to cut down on my calories. I got to sleep a little bit less because I'm working out every day. So I got to fit in work somewhere. All of those things you think, right? Typical guy, I'm just going to do more. I'm going
to out hustle it.
You're just killing it. You're pushing everything in the wrong direction.
Wow.
Right? It has to be a structured plan that builds in that stuff, because we've talked about it 100 times. None of us are 25. You cannot work out the same way you did when you were 25 or even 30. Because your body just can't recover the same. Yeah. And that's been a tough one for me to figure out, because I'm used to training really hard, right? As a pro athlete, I used to go and do the things, and like, I can't do that stuff anymore. At least I can't do it every day.
Yeah.
Right?
I hear what you're saying, but recover. When I sit down on that rower and the 26-year-old guy sitting beside me, I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to beat I'm beating you on this 1,000-meter row. Like,
I hear you. If you get competitive, then you're going to go.
Yeah. No,
you're going to go. And that's why I don't say yes to anybody who asks me to come play touch football every day. Because I can't hold back. I will go.
But I would say overtraining is almost on the level of poor sleep in terms of like drop in testosterone. Like,
really,
overtraining is definitely where guys doing like more cardio. I've seen like marathon training, horrible labs when they come in. Oh, I'm training for a marathon. I'm like, your testosterone's shot, your cortisol's through the roof. Like, take some rest.
Can you
let
walk
your body recover?
No, you can't.
Walking's great.
Walking's great. Okay, so okay.
But like two
but
things.
The long distance running, I've seen some of the worst labs.
A lot of people look at as sort of the pinnacle of fitness, running a marathon or doing a bodybuilding show.
Yes.
Those people are probably in the worst health and fitness ever at the time that they finish their event.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're just given everything to that one sort of end result or that event, and everything else has suffered. Recovery has suffered, food has suffered, everything else that keeps you balanced and healthy and actually fit has been pushed to the wayside just to get that result. And those, like, people go to extremes and like kind of see that as, oh yeah, that would be the pinnacle of health and fitness. But it's the complete opposite.
Well, my dad was a pretty quiet man. He was a very successful businessman in the city for many years. He passed back in 2008, but I remember growing up, he was always a pretty grumpy driver, aggressive driver. So he went from being a nice man to, when he was behind the wheel, not so much. He was pretty aggressive. And I remember he'd always make comments about the runners, the people out running. And he says, like, look at them. They all look miserable and their bodies look like they've been through the ringer. You look at a marathon runner, a lot of them, like, let's face it, I wouldn't want to look like that. Right. You look like you're pretty worn out. Can we shift back to the mental game for a minute about, again, and I appreciate your vulnerability at the beginning of the show to say what you said. Because listen, part of what motivated me to reach out to you, I'd been following you for a bit on Instagram. And again, I'd been telling myself all these stories. And I remember when I started walking in front of the mirror and saying, I didn't used to have that gut and those pants didn't used to how come they don't fit anymore? And I got all these shirts I can't wear because they're too tight around the midsection. And I was feeling the same way, like, you fat fuck. And like the shame is pretty significant. And I'm grateful I took the steps and then applied myself, and your support has been amazing. So much so I signed on for another year. Like, I don't want this to stop. I love this. Yeah. But let's face it, for someone who's in that place where they're not happy with how they look, how they feel, energy, motivation, irritability, probably have no clue that T's have anything to do with this. Most guys, we said it earlier, when we can't perform at the level we think we should, we immediately make it mean something. And what we make it mean is usually not very helpful. What have you guys experienced on that front from a mental perspective?
Go ahead. a lot of men feel like emasculated, right? Because you'll see these psychological factors, and you mentioned menopause. Sometimes they're at that phase of life when there's this interplay and the relationship's not going well. So I definitely see a lot of men coming in, as I said, probably top would be libido, usually in the 50s, I find. And I really try to be supportive immediately and be like, almost thank them like you guys have been doing for being vulnerable, because I know how hard it is, and it's rare that they come in and talk about it. And at NutriChem, we have a lot of the women that are open and coming in for their hormone assessments, and we're getting more of them dragging the husbands in. And I'm even trying to work with them. Yeah, bring your husband in. Like I'll have a good conversation with him. I'll be nice. I don't bite. Like it doesn't even matter if he has low testosterone. There's no judgment. There's none of that. And there's so much you can do. We don't even have to talk. We don't even have to have the testosterone talk. A full lifestyle audit, like the kind of thing it sounds like Pat's doing.
100%.
Is, for 2/3 of men will work. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think, because I deal with guys who typically have been successful in a lot of things and are successful in their life right now, they come to me when they are at the point of like, I don't feel like myself anymore. I don't feel like I can do the things I used to do. I don't feel like I'm operating at the level I used to operate at, and I don't like it, right? I walk into a room and I'm not the confident guy that I used to be. I walk by my wife and don't feel the same way that I used to, and she doesn't look at me the same way. Lots of those things come up, and it eventually gets to a point where it's like, okay, enough is enough. I don't want to live like this anymore. Yeah. And it's just helping them understand, like, you don't have to. Yeah. So many guys think, kind of like we talked about earlier, like, this is the new normal. Yeah. It's not normal. It's not the new normal. It doesn't have to be the new normal. There's no reason why you can't adjust a few things that aren't really that hard to adjust and get back to feeling almost as good as you did when you were 25 or 30, right? You never feel that way again, but you can get really close and feel great and get up every day motivated and energized and happy to see everybody in your life, and just living the life that you want to be living and that you've worked so hard for, instead of, putting in all this hard work and now you reach 45 and you're like, well, I'm miserable.
Right. And it's part of why, like, let's face it, like, men, as they age, especially as they get into their late 40s and 50s, the risks increase significantly. I think and I often get these two stats mixed up, but they're both frightening stats. I think in men over 50, when we talk about suicide rates in Canada and the US, I believe it's 4 out of 5 in the US. Suicides are men, and 3 out of 4 in Canada are men, and that might be reversed. I often get those numbers backwards. Still, both of them are terrible stats. Now, more women attempt suicide than men. Men are just better at it, I guess. But
we get results.
We get results. We're focused on performance, right? We're going to win. But it's sad. It's a really sad thing, and it's because men find themselves increasingly alone, increasingly isolated. Most men don't do a good job of building community, like real community, where they could have honest conversations about what's going on in their life. Hey, lots of guys have tailgate bros, and let's talk about the game, and let's talk about this, and what is it, babes, booze, and blood sports, and business, right? Those are the four topics guys love to talk about. But other than that, they often don't double click. They don't scratch the surface. So they feel isolated. They feel alone. They put most of their eggs in their primary relationship. They look to their spouse or their significant other for all of those relational needs, which isn't healthy. One, it puts too much pressure on their significant other to meet all those needs. Two, with the rates of divorce being what they are, then a guy, that break falls apart and he's in his mid-50s, and now what? Right? So it's pretty damn scary for men, and that's why we launched the Foundry. And that's why I'm glad we're having this conversation today, because there's guys that are likely listening to this and going, oh, maybe it's not because I'm fucked up. Maybe it's not because something's terribly wrong with me or I'm an aberration. No, these are normal changes that happen in your body after the age of 40, and we're talking about things you can do to shift it, right?
So what would be a first step? Or, maybe they're not ready to come and see you, or they're not ready to go in and face the music, if you will. What's a first step, or a couple of things that you would recommend that if there's a guy listening, you could say, here's where to start. If you're not ready to make that whole leap and buy the program and do the thing, what would be a couple of suggestions that they could start with?
So there would be 3 things that I would give them, like super simple, non-specific, just 3 things you can do basically every day to just take a simple step towards making this all feel better. First one is move every day. At least 30 minutes, whether it's a walk, whether it's you pick up a dumbbell, whether it's you go for a bike ride, whatever that looks like, move every single day for at least 30 minutes. Get a sweat going, get your blood rate up a little bit. Second one is just eat more protein. You don't have to measure it yet, but eat protein at every single meal. Have some for breakfast, have some for lunch, have some for dinner. Let the rest take care of itself for now. You'll immediately feel better because most guys are not eating enough as it is. And the other one is sleep. Go to bed. Yeah. Like turn off Netflix, turn off your phone, go to bed, get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and just do that for a month, those 3 things, and come back and tell me how you feel.
Wow.
From a pharmacy standpoint, pharmacist.
Well, I think Pat nailed it. That's some of the same advice I would say. A big one would be, I know it's tough, but working up a bit of the bravery just to talk about it with someone. It doesn't have to be with a professional. It just let it out. I think as men, if we bottle it up, we tend to go pretty dark.
Just chat GPT it?
I have a buddy that's basically using a chat GPT. Oh, he's almost like a therapist. Not my main recommendation.
No.
But even just with a friend, if you can, or someone, I have some guys that'll come in. I don't see them in the clinic and get into the deeper conversations, but they'll come by to chat. And again, it's like business, babes, whatever. And then they'll sort of slip in, what do you think about this? And okay, cool. And then maybe they'll book a little bit later. So just that intro, not too uncomfortable conversation, but men do have to step up and get a little bit better at letting it out and talking about it. Because I know even for myself, when I've had periods where I'm not talking about some of these things, we can go very dark kind of quickly. I think you sort of assume the worst. You assume it's going to go to the deepest, darkest thing. And then I just have a conversation with a buddy and everything's light. The sky is not falling.
Again, there's so much of our value we put on our performance. I think there's a new mantra that I'm embracing for this year, that I'm worthy by nature, not by output. And I think it's a pretty good one. Final question for you guys, and then we'll quickly ask you where people can reach you. We'll put all that in the show notes too, whether they're looking for help to get fit. I know I'm continuing to take that step, but I'm definitely wanting to come in and get tested and find out where things are at for me. And because I'm just really about optimizing everything I can. Live long and strong is my mantra. But if you were looking eyeball to eyeball to a guy right now that's in the throes of it, feeling really down on himself, what's the one word of advice that you would give him if you're looking at him eyeball to eyeball?
Yeah, I think we mentioned a little bit earlier in this, like you don't have to stay here. Like there are easy solutions. They're not drastic. They're not super big lifestyle changes or surgeries or anything like that. There's simple changes to help you get back to where you were. And you're not the only one, right? Like we're all going through this. Everybody over the age of 40 feels the same way you do.
Yeah. Wow.
Or has it.
We just don't talk about it.
Yeah. Exactly.
When I was going to mention that's what I would say is like, it's okay to talk about it and find someone to talk about it with. Just that initial conversation. You don't have to get into the depths and the details, but just that release of talking about it's a great first step.
Yeah. Amazing. Guys, where can we find you online, both of you? If people are curious, again, we're going to put all that in the show notes to make it easy for people. If they want to reach Pat, how do they do it? Yeah,
so the website that talks all about the program is theelitemanmethod.com. In terms of me personally, on Instagram, I'm Elite Coach. On Facebook and LinkedIn, it's just my name, Pat Woodcock. I'm pretty active on all 3 of those, so pretty easy to get a hold of from there.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm not a huge social media guy, but trying to get better. But you can find me at anything NutriChem related. NutriChem's Instagram, website. You can book with me there. I'm always around at NutriChem. I'm often the dispensing pharmacist as well, so you can come by and just have a casual conversation as well.
Yeah, NutriChem's a great new friend of ours. Yeah. Well, Emma and Adam are great new friends of ours, and we'll definitely be having you both back on the show. Guys, thank you so much for being here today and for having a conversation. Again, first time I've ever talked openly about this, and I've learned so much, and I think you have.
Same for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, folks. We hope you have enjoyed this episode and hope you've learned a lot. Our goal at Living Richly is just to give you the tools and the resources to live your best life. And I think if you're a man listening, man, you've heard some great advice today about steps you can take. We encourage you to visit our website, livingrichley.me. You can find out all about the podcast, past episodes, along with how to join the Living Richly Nation, which is our private Facebook group. We have about 1,000 people in there at last count that are all trying to live the best version of themselves. And so you can be part of that. We also want to thank our sponsors, Rhapsody Strategies. If you're a business leader looking to take your game to the next level, whether you're male or female, we've been doing that for years, helping leaders get better results. So make sure to look us up at rhapsodystrategies.com. And finally, if you're a male leader in business looking to improve all aspects of your life, not just business, your health, your mental game, your relationships, the Foundry was created for you. You can find us at foundry4men.com. That's the number 4, foundry4men.com. And learn all about that. And we hope we'll see you participate in some of our events. If this episode meant a lot to you, like it, share it out, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything in the future. Again, thanks to Pat and Adam for being here today. And thank you for joining in. And until next time, get out there and live your best life.